Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Along with doing like a lot of the framework videos that I've been doing, as far as learning a lot of different frameworks and stuff like that, what I want to do is just doing some like utter just basic coding videos. Even though I've done some tutorial videos on many different languages, these are more like exercises and just more tighter nuance. So first I'm going to just do JavaScript. JavaScript tends to be the language I'm most comfortable with, and just kind of go through different useful things to know. So you're probably aware of, if you code in JavaScript, of an object. So an object is just essentially a variable that holds key and value properties. So we'll call it like my object equals, and then I would just define it by doing something like this. So property1 equals hello. Property2 equals goodbye. Okay, and this can be very useful for a lot of different reasons. It's used a lot for like configurations, for keeping track of like different collections of data. It's a pretty useful data construct. And then I can then access those pieces of data in my object by doing things like this: console.log my object dot prop1 save. So now if I bring up that piece of, right, run that code, so node, this is object assignment, it prints out hello, which is my object dot prop1. That's great. Okay, now let's talk about other interesting ways of putting things in and out. Like, let's say I wanted to create 10 more properties in there dynamically, because I don't know what those, I don't have to do each individual one. I could do something like this. Let's say, yeah, let's do a for loop. For I equals 0, as long as I is less than 5, because we're running this like 4 times. And then each time just increment I. Let me pause that while those sirens come by. Oh, living in Brooklyn. Oh, the beauty of living on a busy intersection in Brooklyn. But anyways, okay. And actually, I do want to show one other thing before I finish that loop. You can assign new properties. So I have prop1 and prop1 in that, prop2 in that object, but I can normally assign new properties by doing my object and just put whatever property name I want. So we'll say prop3 equals maybe. Okay. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, and there's more science. Man, there's a lot going on this morning. Okay, I guess I probably should pause it again. Okay, I think we're good. Now, basically here, what it is, I also console prop3, so that way you can see, and let me just comment this out for a moment. I just want you to see that I could initially define my object here and have access to both properties. Okay, I can assign a property after defining the object, and it'll just add that property to the list, and I can console log from both places. So actually, let me save it. That would be useful. And then do that. Okay, and you see, hello, maybe. Very neat. Now, next, let's show you that dynamic assignment of new properties. Okay. Oh, I can hear some news sirens in the background. That's crazy. What's going on this morning? Okay. I should probably start watching the news. Okay, so let me set this up. So the way I'm going to do this is that, again, this is going to loop 4 times because I starts at 0. It keeps looping as long as I is less than 5, which would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually it's going to loop 5 times. And then each time it's going to increment. So each time it increments, what I want it to do is create a new, we're going to do my object, but I'm not going to do dot because I don't know what the name of the property is going to be. So what I got to do is I got to figure out some clever way to create a dynamic name. And one way to do that is I could do string interpolation, or I can put in a variable. There's a couple different ways. String variable, there's a bunch of different ways I can do this. I'm going to use interpolation. So basically I'm going to create brackets. So if you do the name of the object and then brackets, it's going to take whatever string is inside the brackets as the property name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put backticks so that way I can do interpolation, and I'm going to do custom and then I'm going to interpolate use the string literal I. So that's the way the first time it loops, it's going to create a property called custom 0, custom 1, custom, etc. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say whatever that is, it's going to equal the value. Okay, so it's going to equal I. And then that's what it's going to do. That's literally all it's going to do. It's going to loop 5 times and do that. And then after that's done, I wanted to console.log the whole object. My object. Okay, my object. Cool. Save that. Console.log my object. Good. Let's run that. And there you go. See, custom 0, custom 1, custom 2, custom 3, custom 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it creates all those properties dynamically. So you can generate dynamic object properties that way. That's super useful. Now, the other thing we can do, this I just learned recently, I thought this was actually a really neat way of doing it, is when you declare a new variable, let's say you want to declare a new variable, but I really only want one of the properties that are in there. This is really useful for like when you're creating APIs and you don't want to be digging through the whole like request body object, but you know there's certain properties in there that you want. What I can do is I can say, hey, I'm going to create a new property. I'll do it as a const because I'm not going to be changing it. And I know that the property I want is going to be called custom 4. So actually I'm going to put it in brackets. Custom 4. And essentially what this is saying I'm creating a new variable called custom 4, but the brackets basically say search for custom 4 in the thing on the right. And whatever the value of the custom 4 on the right is going to be the value of this new custom 4 variable that I'm creating. And where am I looking? I'm going to look in my object. So what that's going to do is going to look in my object for a property called custom 4 and then assign that variable to this new custom 4 variable. So it's looking for a match and then assigning it. Okay, and that's why you sometimes see that when you're working a node and you're importing things and you see the curly brackets, it's partly because they're taking advantage of that syntax. And this also was used, I learned this from when I was playing with Next.js in the way that they sometimes pull variables from the request body. Okay, at first I was like, why this syntax is kind of weird, but then I realized it's not like a Next.js thing, this is a JavaScript thing. And here we go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just then console log that. And after that, I think we'll wrap this video up. Console.log custom force, just to show you that it actually did grab the right value. So if this has worked out right, it should be grabbing the value of 4 and then console logging 4 there at the end. Okay. And I should save it. That would be good. And node object assignment. And see, it grabs the 4. So it knows to grab it, and now I don't have to say my object custom 4. I now have a freestanding variable called custom 4 that is that property. Okay, and that's cool because then I can use I could basically create a bunch of freestanding variables dynamically, because if I know I set up the name dynamically, I can set up this dynamically and then create all sorts of it creates some interesting possibilities. But that's just some interesting tricks with objects that are very useful, that hopefully you picked up a thing or two from watching this video. And yeah, I'll keep doing little exercises like this, showing some more fun tools. We'll probably be doing some TypeScript, some Python, some Go through a lot of this, because it's fun. It improves my skills and improves your skills, and everyone wins. So it's a good thing. So I'll see you guys later on. Have a great one.